away, and we're going to cover quite a number of things here. Let me see. Strange.
Have you not got the button to share screen? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, it's on already. It's on already. Fine.
Okay.
Okay, good, good. Okay, all good. Now, so this is where we have, okay. Oops. Share screen is off. Okay, let me just do it again. Right, oh good. Okay. So we're gonna start self-esteem from being yourself, you know, a child who is being yourself, to be your best self, regardless of when, where, or who he or she is. So we're going to get the child to be negative and rejection proof, raising their standards, and to help them to. This a quick question, yeah. How many of you struggle to get your child to stop being themselves? Stop being themselves, you know, like get out there in the room all by yourself. How many parents actually struggle with that? Yeah, put in the chat box if you struggle with that. Yeah, say me, yes, yes, okay. Yep, yep. Yeah, so how many of you would like to see your children being able to be their good self, meaning that they are feeling good about themselves and then having that self-esteem and self-confidence at all? If you want your kids to be like that, just type in number two. Yeah, type in number 2. Or else, how many of you would like your children, how many of you are in nightmare, constant worried about your children going to end up struggling in their lives in the future because they can't seem to be able to communicate with other people? You know, when you ask them to go ahead and talk to people, you know, go at the shop, just ask for something, go ahead and ask for something. They'd rather sit unable to speak and communicate with other people to get what they want in the future. If you are that type of parent, type in number 3. And if you are a parent who wants your child to have that full self-esteem and confidence that he will or she will thrive in any situation, any kind of situation, yeah, no matter where they are, when is it, with who, type in number 4. Type in number 4. Or if you are 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them, you are the same, having this concern, you just type in 5. Yep. Okay, all right. So the reason why I'm asking all these questions, so that I know what exactly is your biggest concern. So it's a very, and most of you have 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. So I want to give you the most, a massive value, or out of these 60 minutes that I'm going to spend time with you. Yeah, the best ROI that I can give you for these 60 minutes is to let you know it is never about the skills and the techniques. Yeah, it is always about your standard as a parent that is going to give the child the self-esteem that they needed. Okay, so I'm Angeline, and today's topic is something that is so dear to me personally. You're talking about self-esteem, being your own self, from being your own self to being your good self in general. And I've dealt with clients all over the world, 13 countries spread over 4 continents, whether North America, South America, Europe, Asia, you can name it, yeah. So helping many of these high-profile individuals and their families to solve many of their emotional, mental, behavioral challenges, and sometimes even on certain diseases. So I've handled clients from 6 years old, as young as 6 years old, because that is the youngest age that I can accept, right up till 76 years old. So whether they are film producers, TV hosts and presenters, national gymnasts, state representatives, best-selling authors, singers, high-level government officials in Asia, but not in Malaysia, definitely not in Malaysia. Yeah, I do not want to handle that. I rather not, and many of them. So I've handled many of such clients. So I have enough case to support when it comes to what I share. Yeah, and I would love all of you to really pay full attention, because I'm not going to talk about skills and knowledge or techniques. Yeah, I'm going to talk a lot on your own standards. And you can find all this in, because if you want to talk about skills and techniques, all you need to do is just to Google, and you have all the answers there. You don't have to listen to me for 60 minutes for all the techniques and skills. Yeah, what I'm going to share is something that people out there never want you to know, because this is a secret, the single source to why children nowadays have such low self-esteem, low resilience, and low confidence. So allow me to start with something that all of you that might have already know by now. And if you haven't heard this, you're going to start to feel very uncomfortable and worried after this. I'm sorry, you may think that I'm such a bad person to tell you bad negative news in such early morning, beautiful morning. But I have no other ways of putting it. Yeah, because fact is, things are really going to be nasty moving forward, whether we like it or not. Okay. Now, so allow me to start with something that we're going to talk about certain economy. Okay. Not just economy in Malaysia, but we're going to talk about the global economy. And we're just going to focus in the next 12 months, yeah, talking about short term now, because it's critical that we survive through this short term. This is not the time to talk about plans, yeah, because we need to survive through a crisis. It's like when you are in a fire, when you're in a building being caught in a fire, you won't be calling your family members and say, come, let's plan what should we do now, right? You should be like, get out from that situation now, just get out, to survive, get out from that crisis now. It's not about the plans, it's never about strategies anymore. So how should we get out from a situation calmly? Okay, and I will need to we're going to go through this in as smooth as possible. Yeah. Now we are in June 2020, 12 months down the road, June 2021. I'm going to just split it into quarters. Yeah. And we know that the economy is definitely going to head down. It's going to head down, and because you all know that the government the governments around the world, they are utilizing all their reserves to help with the pandemic, with the COVID-19. And without all these reserves, you will know that the economy later on is going to be dried up. Yeah, and we all will have that impact. And across the world right now, we have seen companies retrench, cutting off manpower, not just cutting off budgets. And you hear big conglomerates scaling down, hotels being closed down, established companies laying off their employees one after another, and a massive, huge global financial recession is going to come. And it's going to be worse than the Great Depression. Well, all of us have not been through the Great Depression for sure, because it took place back in 1930s. But most of us here have seen our parents struggle during the 1998, yeah, the year 2000 recession. And if you feel that is bad back then, the impact of this coming financial depression is going to be at least 5 to 10 times worse than that. Okay, so keep this in mind as we move on. Yeah. I'm going to share about the 3 common emotional trends that all us as a human being, that automatic reaction, that automatic common emotion, yeah, when it comes to crisis. Okay, there are 3 types of automatic reaction. So just now when we talk about this timeline, the first type, we have 3 types. One is called, we have 3 types of this emotional reaction, which is fight, flight, and freeze. Yeah, 3 types: fight, flight, and freeze. That is the automatic response that all of us inhibit. Yeah, in any kind of crisis, when you have something out of a sudden that happens in our life, this is the normal reaction that automatically kicks in. So the first type we talk about is freeze, and this is where people will set into panic mode because they are anxious. Yeah, they are always fearful and worried, so they are in the denial of, sometimes they are in denial of what is happening, and they choose to believe that things will be back to normal, even though deep inside their heart they know there's going to be a potential risk ahead. Yeah, sometimes I call these people the ostrich because they just want to hide themselves, thinking that, you know, everything is going to be okay, you know, when they pull their things, when they pull their heads out. So sometimes they even blame other people for not telling them in advance, and because they fail to take action, they felt miserable and they start diminishing themselves, or they find or create reasons for themselves. And MCO, when it comes to play, if you did nothing at all except watching TV, not watching Netflix, yeah, you will be in this category. Okay, your automatic response is freeze. It's only a matter of time, how much your self-esteem will diminish, especially in bigger crises. Because when you did not hurdle it through, suddenly you find that, oh, I'm incapable. You have this voice in your head that says that, you know, I'm incapable of handling this, and, you know, you didn't tell me, I didn't expect that. So inside it will start to crush your own self-esteem. So whether it is as fast as in 3 months time, 6 months times, or 12 months time, this is the reaction of people who are in freeze mode. Yeah, then we have people who is in the second category, which is the fight type. You know, emotional and our life cycle, right? It is like going in circles. And because we are always going in as something that we do things which are very familiar to us, okay? And people who are in this category, they are unsure of what's going on, but they choose to try. The word is they choose to try, and they follow what their friends are doing or what the overall people are doing around us, around them. So they don't think so much. For example, when this MCO happens, everyone jump into online business, and this particular person or you jump quickly into online business as well, thinking that this is the best option. So you will be classified as taking a fight response. Yeah, so it's a trial and error, and the result could be for better or worse, but somehow you will lead to a something similar to what you have before. Not much change. You have hurdled through the crisis, and it doesn't change much of your life. So you are doing for the sake of doing something before you lose out. Okay, the third type, which is what we call the flight type. Yeah, these are the people who automatically triggered to create or to change or take challenges. You know, when things happen, the first thing is to settle it, to find ways to overcome it, and even without anyone telling them, they would be very, very focused on their growth as survival mechanism. The keyword is they focus on growth as their survival mechanism. Okay, they will take massive actions, and they know that what they want, and they will go for it. Okay, for example, during the MCO, if you remain calm, you took up courses to level up your skills. You know that that is being needed. You've shown better dedication to your work. Okay, and you work through from home, you still achieve accomplishment. This is you in this category. Yeah, we are talking about your automatic response as taking a flight response. Okay, and when you are this category, you actually build your own self-esteem, because even crisis, you don't feel much of a fear, because you are strongly confident about where you are heading. And because you create your own success, even during crisis, your self-esteem continue to go up. Yep. So everybody following so far? So type in okay if you are following, and let me know which category did you fall into the MCO. There's no right or wrong. Yeah, I'm just going to give you about 30 seconds to reflect which type are you in, and you have to be honest with yourself, because if you want to help your children, you will need to reflect on this. Okay, you know your emotional state and your reaction better during the MCO. There is no right or wrong, good or bad. It's just the automatic response in us. Okay, so type in 1 if you freeze, and type in 2 if you just take on the flight mode. Okay, and type in 3 if you fight back, if you just continue to take on massive action, whether you are at home in this MCO. Okay, I'm just going to give you about 30 seconds. Okay, 3, good. 3 are good. You have to be true to yourself, yeah, because only you will know your own response. And I'm going to let you know where exactly you are. How is it also affect your children? MCO freeze. It is during MCO. You need to assess it during MCO. Which kind are you? Okay, 2, yeah, fair. Okay. No one in the freeze mode. No one in the freeze mode. Watching Netflix. Okay, good. So we have talked about the huge crisis that's going to come. Okay, and we have also talked about our own automatic reaction in times of panic moments. Yeah, in times of crisis. Now let us just move on. And we're going to now look at these 2 charts. Yeah, just now we have already talked about this and this. We have these 2 charts next to each other. Now, I would like you all now to reflect on your own self. What emotional state will you be in when the global financial crisis happens? 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, 9 months, 12 months down the road. Taking into consideration what happened to you 2 months ago during the lockdown, do an assessment to yourself. Reflect, in what emotional state will you be in this economic shift later on? And I'm going to give you just 60 seconds to reflect. Okay. Because if during lockdown, you have a lot of emotional turbulence, yeah, this crisis that is going to come is going to cost 5 to 10 times worse than that. So when that happens, what would be your automatic response be? Okay, type in the chat box. Yeah, you're going to be, whether you're going to be taking a freeze mode, especially for starting, you will be shocked and probably you'll go in a freeze mode, or you're going to just trial and error and do something, or you're going to straight away take massive action. So 1, 2, or 3, reflect back. Based on your past experience, okay, 2, okay, 2, yep. So for those of you who just jumped in, yeah, we are going to, we are doing certain reflection on our own self, yeah, because like I say, I am going to lead you through how you can actually raise your children's self-esteem, but you need to start it with you first. Okay, 3, good. Now, most of you is in the category of 2, yeah. You wouldn't know. Let me see. Okay, 3, okay, good. So when we say crisis, and we are going to have, and we are going to anticipate a crisis which is going to be at least 5 times worse than what we are going to experience, what we have experienced so far, 5 to 10 times. That emotional stress that we are going to handle is going to be another 5 to 10 times worse. You know, the possibility of losing a job, the possibility of not getting business, and a lot of things that is going to come crushing in, especially in terms of the financial matters. How will your state be? Yeah, and this is something that we're going to reflect. Yeah. Now, by me sharing and giving you all the answers, you will only receive it at your intellectual level, and that's why I want you to reflect. Okay, knowing and not doing is the same of not knowing. Okay, so as you listen to me taking you over this journey, yeah, it's not about knowledge anymore. It's about something that is going to change your life. Yeah, changing your kids and changing your relationship, whatever. When you just listen, all this change doesn't happen. You know, knowledge acquisition, we have passed through that. We are now in the age of being drowned with so much information, but we are starving for wisdom and transformation and change. So I need you to reflect 60 seconds, look at what's going to happen and how you're going to react. Yeah. And in times of crisis, the emotional effect will be compounded. Yeah, that's by default. So I want you to imagine this. Your partner or your spouse is supposed to bring your kids out with you for shopping. Okay? But because there was a small argument in the morning, he or she decided to go elsewhere instead of bringing the kids together or helping you go shopping together. Okay? So as you bring the kids out, you have stuff inside your head, okay, inside your mind. You'll be thinking about the bill or the credit cards payment that you have to clear, and it is a little bit out of budget because you didn't anticipate the bill to be this high, or you didn't anticipate the credit card amount to be this high. Okay, it's playing in your head. And then also you'll be worried about the companies closing down. A lot of companies are closing down and many people are being retrenched. So inside your head, you'll also be thinking, what is going to happen to you? Are you going to be the next one who's going to be retrenched? So that's another question. And then you will be also thinking about what happened in the morning. So all this going through your head, and while you're thinking through all these things, for the little kids that you are bringing along, they have absolutely no idea what's going on with you. Okay, and then they saw the toys that they love so much, or the junk food that they love, and they ask for it. Okay, that happens very, very naturally. Okay, so you told them once, you told them twice, no, but they still turn around and say, "Mommy, mommy," or "Daddy, daddy, you know, I really want it. Can I have it? Can I have it? Please, please, please." And just continue to bark, 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 bark. And so out of frustration, you know, out of impatience, and you are still trying to reconcile all this heavy stuff in your head. And the kids keep on asking the same question again and again. The fact you might not, inside your head at the same time, you also have been thinking, you know, you are not a good enough spouse or mom, and then you reacting by snapping at your kids. You know, you say, "No, I've told you so. You know, this is not the time. Don't ask me again. You're not being a good boy, or you're not being a good girl." Does this sound familiar? Right? So now, something significant is happening to your kids right now. and I want you to pay close attention to this. Yeah, your kids are going through a significant negative emotion. Little ones have no access to critical thinking, especially before the age of 7. What they know unquestionably right now, they are not good enough. They don't deserve it, and they do not know why. Okay? But it was true to them then. So they grow up and believing for the rest of their lives, sabotaging their own success because they have just got an unconscious printed belief back in their subconscious mind they don't deserve. Let me repeat that. While you're handling a lot of issues in your head, and the kids are asking you for the toy, for the junk food, and after you have told them patiently 1, 2, 3 times no, and they're still begging and still making noise for you to get it for them, you reacted, you scolded them. To you, it is minor. That is no big deal. But to a child, they have just gone through a significant, I'm saying a significant negative emotion. I just want you to ponder that for a moment. What I'm saying is that you have a choice to build or destroy the next generation. Okay? On average, 2 out of 3 population in the world had childhood stress or trauma. Okay? And all the scenarios that the scenario that I've given you just now is one of the many thousands of these incidents that unknowingly, unintentionally cause significant stress and trauma to the kids. Small little trivial incidents in your eyes, but significant to the kids because their brain do not get it. Okay, they are not us, they are not adults. And this is called childhood stress, childhood trauma. Scientifically, it is called adverse childhood experiences, ACE, ACE, yeah. So you can Google this term after this talk, and you will find that there are lots of research that has been done on this particular area. It started way back in 1996, but that's about a quarter century ago, and now more than 1,500 studies have been conducted, and these are only what I'm going to share. The statistics here is only about 0.1% that I can share with you due to time constraints. So first, childhood stress decreases slightly as family incomes rises. Childhood stress decreases slightly as family income rises. So if the family income decreases, especially when we talk about this financial crisis, obviously parents are going to have a lot more arguments, a lot of stress. You snap at your kids more often, and the childhood stress, childhood trauma is definitely going to increase. That is something that we can definitely foresee. Second thing, the higher a child's ACE score shows in alignment to increase in parent stress level. ACE, as I said, it is adverse childhood experiences. In layman's term, it is a childhood stress or trauma. So when parents' stress level increase, likewise, the children's stress and trauma score is, okay, based on the statistics that has already been done. Children with fewer scores have healthier mothers. Mothers. Why mothers? We are going to cover that later on. Okay? The point I would like you all to see are your impact to the kids, whether you like it or not. Just like the previous scenario that I've just shared just now, I'm sure all of you did that for just for another thought-provoking point, many of you hear or heard from the mainstream medical mention, that there are diseases that are hereditary. Okay, what are the diseases? We have hypertension, diabetes, cancer, depression, and all these illnesses, they said it is hereditary. But if you can just go and search in the internet and anywhere in the medical journals, you will never find a piece of backed up research that says that it is 100% hereditary. By right, when you say hereditary, should have at least 75% chances getting it from the parents. However, the highest percentage of possibilities, if you ever do this research, it is only at 30%, not even 50%, 30%. And why is that? In my line of duties, while I work with complementary and natural health council back in the UK, I don't serve local institutes. We have a complementary and natural health council in Malaysia, but I don't serve them. I serve that in UK. We discovered that there is a relation, and shockingly as high as 85%, that in all these so-called hereditary diseases, it is not really hereditary. Okay, it can be reversed. And what happened, why it get passed on from one generation to another, was because of the bonding, the association to the mother, the association to the parent, between the child and the parent. Okay, so it also goes on to prove that most diseases were inherited from the mom, because the child normally associate themselves closer to the mother than the father. Okay, if you look at this flow, you would understand, it makes sense to you that the mind can never differentiate whether it is a good or bad idea. Okay, the brain automatically create the physical symptoms. So in the mind of a child, if I want my parents to love me, accept me, I must be the same like them. You may say that, got such thing? Yes. Even we as a kid, if we reflect back, and this is a lot of reflection, because I want you to understand how much you are creating the future of your kids, and as well as your children's self-esteem is equally linked up to you. Okay, so when we look back at our childhood, we would want to do things that is being accepted by our parents. Okay, so being a little child, if you have parents who have got all this disease, one of the ways to be closely associated with them is to be like them. Okay, so the mind doesn't know what is good or bad, folks. The mind, pure soul function is to make sure your survival. And if you tell the mind that this is the way to survive, because I need the love as a child, you need the love you need the love and care from your parents, right? This is to survive. So the brain will automatically create that physical symptoms similar to the parents. Okay, it gives that to you. So I'm going to just again pause for a little while, because this can be slightly challenging for you to understand, to make sense. Okay, but this is a fact for you to seriously ponder and to think about. You wouldn't want that, because it has already been stamped into the child, whether you like it or not. It is there. And this is something that mainstream medical couldn't prove it. But based on the research that we have done extensively, especially back in the in the Western countries, all these are proven. How much the kids want to associate themselves like their parent, and they have this disease being stamped in them. It's never because passed on genetically. Very, very that happens. That's why medical journals, they can only show up to 30% that it is genetically passed on. Okay, so I would like you all to watch out when you are busy chasing after your career, your business, every external material things. You say things such as wait until, wait until I reach there, wait until I have accumulated enough wealth, or wait until I finish the work first. You have created a form of strong emotional neglect in your child, and I cannot stress how critical it is. If you don't get this, no matter what you do, no matter how many courses you send your kids to, one course to another, to build their self-esteem, they'll go back to square one in the end of the day. Okay, because you have already stamped it in the subconscious mind. You have already stamped it in their subconscious mind. Okay, you have already built in that belief that I don't matter, I'm not important, I'm not as important as my mom's work. I'm not as I'm not as important as my mom's friends. Okay, and when you also look back and reflect back on what your parents did to you, what happened to your self-esteem? The same way it does to kids nowadays. You can give them all the material things, but nothing, absolutely nothing can substitute that attention, that love that you can give to fill up that hole that you have created onto the kids. So it is unless and until you have mastered your own self, all the outside are just noises and variety of gratification that will give you the same results. The courses, the techniques, the skills, the workshops. So what are the 4 masteries we need to get good at first? Okay, we have gone through this. So before I go to the 4 masteries, so coming back to here, like I say, crisis is coming, you know your state of emotion and your reaction. So you have been through 2 layers of reflection just now on how you communicate with your kids, your mental, your emotions, your behavioral projections onto the kids. So what can you do now to raise your child's self-esteem, from being yourself to being your good self? And as I mentioned, it is never about the techniques and skills. You can get all this information online. Okay. And I do hope that all of you get this secret piece of information. If it worked, it would have worked long time ago, those things that you have done in the past. Because teaching self-esteem has been in the market for so long, so many years, but none actually told you about this key, how to actually raise the kids' self-esteem. It's like I say, it's never about the techniques or the skills. Okay, it's about your standard, your personal standard as a parent. Okay, let me repeat that. It is not about the techniques and the skills. It is about you as a standard, as a parent. Okay, because it is your mental, your emotion, and your behaviors, actions that are going to determine the outcome of your kids 12 months down the road. And if you're not ready for this nasty ride that we have seen on the screen just now, you're going to destroy your kids' self-esteem even further. So they will grow up having anxiety, stress, loneliness, and increase of likelihood of depression because they have problems with their friendships, with their relationships. And the next thing you can give them is to have that self-esteem and confidence of being their good self. Understand that they have a lot of capabilities, a lot of abilities to handle or deal with anything, anywhere, anyone, especially when you're no longer around them. Okay, you didn't raise the kids to suffer in this in this world. Okay, so you know that their life should thrive, should be happy and healthy. Okay, so let's move on to see the bigger picture of the self-esteem framework that I mentioned, the 4 areas of mastery. Okay, so I'm sure most of you drive here. So let me just ask a question. When you drive a car for outing, What must you make sure to have or ensure? Put in the chat box. What is it that you will check and make sure you have it before you start your journey? Okay, put in the chat box. What is it that you will check in the car to make sure it is safe, that it's working before you start a journey? When you take on a holiday, yes, when you are going out, what would you check? Petrol, yeah. Fuel. Brake, yes. Enough petrol. What else? Except from petrol and brake. Touch and go. Kids needs and check car, yes. Tires, yes. Yes. Yep. You got it? Now, what I would like you all to see is that self-esteem is something like a car. Okay? It is something like a car. Bring my car to service center. Okay, can horn. Okay, all right. Now, first, you must know that the car system must be operating or working in good condition, right? So, or else you're going to get stranded and stressed and struggling to get to where you want to go. Okay, the system that we have, some of you just mentioned the engine, the tires especially, the pedals includes the brakes, the fuel pedal. Okay, so the system is of the car is regarded as the essence, and I would like to call it our mindset. Okay, whereby the engine is our conscious mind, the tires are our subconscious mind, and the pedals are our reaction or the modes. Yeah. So you see, when we brake, that's the freeze mode because you brake. Okay. And when you press on the fuel mode and brake, it's like the car keep on jerking. Brake, fuel, brake, fuel, brake, fuel. That is that's a flight mode. And if you just press on the fuel pedal and you're going smoothly forward, that is a fight mode. Sorry, at the balik. So if it is on a brake and the fuel at the same time, you are at the fight mode because you're fighting. Okay, but when you are in the flight mode, it's actually smooth going. You're on the fuel pedal. Okay, so I want you to look at these three components. Which two have the biggest control of the car, do you think? Yeah, put in the chat box. Which one has a bigger control? The engine, the tires, or the pedal? No idea? Engine. Okay. Joanne said it's engine. Liz said it's engine. Okay. Any other answers? Pedal, engine, tires, pedals. I want you all to participate so that you all understand better. All three. Can only choose one. All three cannot. Engine. Most of you quoted engine. Okay. Now, and if you state it's engine, it's nope, that's not the answer. Because why? Even when the engine is working, yeah, the tires can still remain stationed. Yeah, and especially if the brake can hold it further. Okay, vice versa, even if the engine is stalled, the tire can still move. So the tires actually have bigger impact, have bigger role. Because tires, that's why tires we associated it with the subconscious mind. Yeah. In my past presentations, I talk a lot about how the subconscious and the conscious mind works, and the subconscious mind actually controls up to 99% of the power of the mind. Okay, if you're not careful with it, that's what it stops us from achieving what we need to achieve. Yeah, and all these are accumulated back of the mind. That's why it's called subconscious. You didn't even realize that it is ongoing. Like you don't have to think about how you breathe. You know, on the way driving back, when your mind is absolutely on something else, about your work, about family matters, about relationship issues, about colleagues and stuff, suddenly you just find yourself reach home. How did you get past all the traffic lights safely? Where to turn? You didn't need to think about it. All this already part of the subconscious mind, memory and path, how you need to come back. You don't even have to think about it. Okay, so that is subconscious mind. Okay, now let's look at the next element. Okay, the first element, the first E is essence. Okay, the second element we're going to look at is the journey. So you must know where you are heading to, you know, which is your destination. Then you will need to refer to the signboards or your GPS or the signage. Yeah. You will also need to know which route you can take. Yeah, whether it is the highway, the trunk road, or combination. Okay, the journey is your experience. Destination is the purpose where you want to go. The signboard and the GPS, it is the direction. Okay, and these are the hard set of the self-esteem. Okay, route is the path you normally take or you normally choose. Your preferred path, something that you are familiar with, which represents your skill sets as well. No, something that you're super familiar with. That's why you can drive faster in that path. Okay, that is the second E element. Tesla 5G. Yep, route is the habit, is your comfort zone. That's right. Okay, so next, what else is the settings? Yeah, the aircon, the heater, the music, the song selection, and the snacks, things that you get to prepare for your kids as well. Okay, and then the passengers that you bring along in the journey. Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit on the passengers later on. So the settings represents the environment, right? What you see, what you feel, and what you hear as the conditioning that made you the way how you feel right now. While the passengers is your network, yeah, the way they communicate with you, if they are positive or negative. You know, if you carry passengers that always nags on you, your friends that, you know, plays down on you, then you obviously you have a negative environment. And if you have passengers, you know, whom you really love to travel with, normally these are the jovial people that will light up the journey. Okay, positive people that shows you, oh, there could be a shortcut, you know, to make the journey easier. These are the good people, the good passengers that should be traveling with you. Yeah, these are the people that you should surround with, yeah, in your journey of life. Okay, so what else? So that is the environment. Yeah, the third is, and the last but not the least, which is also the most important, is the driver, that is you. Yeah, the expert, the so-called expert. So without you, the car can't go anywhere. And you are also going to be the one who is supposedly to be in control of all this, the environment, the essence, and the experience. Okay, because you have the option to choose how you want to set all these items. Okay, so the framework that I've mentioned about self-esteem consists of these 4 E's. Yeah, the essence, the experience, the environment, as well as the expert. So since time is running out, I'm just going to quickly run through this exercise with you. You will need to check your dials. Yeah, these are the dials that you should check in terms of your self-esteem, starting with the tires. Okay, starting with the tires. So your subconscious mind, if you have no idea, no knowledge of what is in your subconscious mind, then you should put it as red. Yeah, we're going to go through like a traffic light scoring, just red, yellow, or orange. and green. Okay, if you have no knowledge of what is in your subconscious mind, is a red. Okay, if you have certain knowledge about what's in your subconscious mind, it means that you have gone through certain therapies or self-discovery journey, then it's an orange code. And if you have full knowledge of what is in your subconscious mind, then you can put a green there. Yeah, but for me, I will know most of us here are either red. Most of you should be in red. Okay. For the conscious mind, if you dislike changes, if you personally dislike changes, you will react big time when you suddenly have to be if you suddenly requested to make certain change last minute, you reacted big time. That is a red. And orange would be when you're able to accept changes. You can accept. Yeah, you feel angry, but you can accept. That's orange. Okay. Green is when you actually look forward for changes. Okay, put the score there. When you freeze during a crisis, that's a red. That's for the pedal. Okay. If it's an orange, that means that you brake and put on petrol together at the same time. And green when you are in a flight mode. Yeah. Just put it on your own paper. Yeah. Just put it on a paper. Never mind. Just forget about the screen. Okay. Where were we? Sorry. Okay. The brakes. Okay. The brakes. Don't have to put it down in the chat box first. Just put it in your own paper because you're going to do the scoring for your own self. Okay. So 3 items you have covered. So we move on to the 4th dial. Okay. Next, we're going to look into destination, the purpose of your life. If you are always running in a hamster wheel, repeating the same thing over and over again, yeah, that's a red. And if you know at times, if you already know your life purpose, but you just feel that you're confused at times, whether, hey, am I really, is this really what I want to do? Yeah, you wonder and you pause on it. That's an orange. Okay. And green is when you know exactly what is your life purpose. That's a green. Okay, move on to the signage and the GPS on the direction of your life. If you find that your life is always in circles, going or somewhat lost in the busyness of doing things, yeah, that's a red. If you think you are heading to the right direction, that's an orange. A green is when you are absolutely confident. Mark the word, absolutely confident that you are heading on the right direction. That's on your GPS. Okay. The route, if you're always using the same road to work or it's habitual, then it's a red. Or you can also assess yourself through looking at how you behave at work. If you constantly following the existing policies or structures or cultures, that's a red. Okay, because you just follow. Orange is when you question the existing policy, structure or culture, or where you question, why must it this road? But anyway, when you question, you still use that road. So that's an orange. Okay. Green is when you challenge the status quo, when you take different route or path, sometimes even the path that least people walk. That's a green for the route. Okay. For conditioning, looking back at your childhood and bear in mind, we include all these 3 areas. Yeah, the mental, the physical, as well as the verbal. Okay. Mental, physical, as well as verbal. If you have been exposed or grown up in mostly unsupportive environment, yeah, whether you are being beaten, emotional and verbal, or you might have been beaten, verbally abused, or going through hard times, that's a red. Okay, and orange when you have a combination, but 60% of it is supportive. And 40% is, of course, sometimes you get beaten or sometimes you get certain nasty verbal diarrhea. from people around you. Okay, green is when you grow up in a fully supportive environment. So meaning that you are so lucky that everyone around you always encourage you to do and pursue whatever that you like. That's a green. Then we move on to the network very, very quickly. People around you, if you are currently being supported by mostly toxic or negative people, or rather people who loves drama, then that is a red. Okay. Orange is when you have more than 60% of your circle of friends are positive people. And green is when you're surrounded with all positive people who always ask more of you to grow, encourage you all the time, motivates you to pursue and to move upwards and to grow together with you. That's a green. And you as a driver, okay, I would like you to note this. If you yourself have always been saying, I have to, or I have no choice in most of your vocabulary, that's a red. But if you have been using the word try all the time, you just try, you talk to your kids also try, then that's an orange. Green is when you always say, I will, I can, most of the time in your vocabulary. Okay, so after completing all these 9 dials, I want you to total up how many reds you have, how many orange you have, and how many greens you have. And bear in mind, this is not a comparison of who is better than who or whatever. This is only a journey to understand where you are in your self-esteem. And we really, really want to know that, because your kid, your child is a reflection of you and your partner. And as a teacher, your self-esteem is also be reflected on your students. So please do this quick exercise and put in the chat box, what is your score? And then I'm going to depict it to you, for you. Okay? How many reds, how many orange, how many greens? Have you total up? One red, 6 orange, 1 green. Very good. How does this apply to single parent families with one partner absent? Okay, I'm going to address that in the Q&A. Just quickly total up your dials, how many reds, how many orange, and how many greens. Eight orange, 1 green, 3 red, 4 orange, 2 greens. Okay. Okay, so got it. 2 red, 4 orange, 2 green. Good. Okay, so there are 4 levels of self-esteem. Okay. The chaotic esteem, the confident, moving up to the courage, and the top is calm and steady. Okay, for each level of the esteem, we have 3 indicators to measure the results of it. The financial impact, the time involved, and the impact that, yeah, and here is the breakdown. If you have more than 4 or more rates, you are in the low self-esteem level. Okay, this is where you see most of the people in this category have no financial growth. Yeah, or rather a very stagnant financial growth. And most of the time you'll be spending 24/7 at work because you feel the need to work extra hard, extra much to prove to other people that you can. So, but the sad part is you rarely have any impact to anyone, anywhere, be it at work or at home. So you have more than 4 orange indicators, you are confident, okay? You are confident. And this is where you experience a slow growth in your bank account. You also spend about 12 hours a day at work because you feel that you still need to do whatever everyone is doing. okay, to be accepted in the company of your friends at work, as well as family members. And you do certain, and you have certain impact to the community or to the people around you. Okay. And then if you have more than 5 greens, you are already a master of self-esteem. Okay, you have exponential growth in your bank account. You earn freedom at work, and of course, because you have a high level of self-esteem, you can create a better legacy. You spend about 4 hours at work a day. Okay. Because you spend a lot of time building networks instead of working. You spend time in building networks, and these are the people who will actually have bigger impact to the people around. So last but not least, if you have more than 5 greens, sorry, that one is 5 or less greens or 7 greens, you are already master of self-esteem. Okay, you have exponential growth in your bank account, you earn freedom at work, and of course, with your high level of self-esteem, you can create legacy, impact to the community and the people around you. This is a self-esteem extension model under my program called New Expression. And the reason why I keep harping on the importance of your own self-esteem, because your child is a reflection of you. Now, well, the statistics of the at the start of the presentations tells, and again, I mentioned already, it's not about the skills and the techniques, it's all about your standard. Okay, so and do you agree that the time for change is now? We no longer just seeking knowledge and information, and there are plenty of this in the internet, and you don't have to pay anyone to obtain all these things. What you need is transformation, something that comes from true experiences and not theories. Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you if you are looking for techniques and skills, because you can get them easily with your Google. You don't have to listen to me. So my role here is to give you the biggest value and shifting your perspective of looking at things from an entirely different manner, because things that have been done in the past that had never worked and will never work if you should choose to still follow that cycle that you keep running, or the society that is running. The change is now, and you are the key that will decide which level your kids' self-esteem going to be in the next 12 months. So let us look at the 3 key areas to focus in times of crisis to transform your children's being. Yeah, to shift their self-esteem starts with awareness, and it can be done here through this ROAR. So reflection on your own self, which you have already did the whole morning. Okay, and then observe. Next thing is to observe your child. Okay, at what level of self-esteem are they in? Based on the 4 E's framework of the car, you can also do the same exercise for your kids. Yeah, the 9 dials. Okay, and in addition, you can also do assessment for the members of the family. Okay, which you and your partner as well as your child. It should be all these in total should be in the same category. Yeah. About the assessment, don't have to worry, because I'm going to give all of you the assessment later on. It consists 40 questions to go through. Okay. So last but not least, but also to record the observation of your kids and your own automatic reaction. More importantly, your own automatic reaction, because recording is not easily done, because especially for yourself, because we react automatically. Yeah, based on the subconscious imprint we already have at the back of our head. Yeah, so it takes a lot of consciousness and effort, but if one of the critical areas to know what you need to work on is yourself and your child. Okay, so the next element that we're going to talk is taking action, which is also the most difficult part of all. So what you can do includes join NEP, which is the new expression program, which I'm about to share very, very briefly. So imagine the wheel of the car. You have three components. Yeah, it operates when you have three sectors all in it. Yeah, that's where it is complete and functionable. The first component is called expression. The new expression program, yeah, consists of three core pillars that we work on during for this new normal. I think new normal is one of the terms that is most trending right now, but for me this has started before COVID, because we talk about new perspective, new transformation, and the new ways of creating real results since 2017, yeah, three years back. So expression is the single most important element to grow your self-esteem and your child's as well. So grow your strength yourself, working through your inner core, including your mindset, your heart set, your skill set, the conditioning and the communication, the elements that we have mentioned in the journey, the car. Okay, so for self-expression to work on its core, we will build on coping, yeah, where we will first build the ability to handle the situation, challenge the crisis, and despite of low esteem, yeah. And we also learn on how to conquer the fear, the threat, and the worries when we have low self-esteem and other negative emotions. Last, crushing it all together, this is where we start to inspire ourselves towards building greater self-esteem and confidence. This is the new expression model that we help and we get the clients to focus on. So the second and the third sector doesn't it is more relevant to people who wants to pursue to a higher level degree of self-expression, as well as being a leader in the organization or in the workplace. Yeah, so we have expansion as a way of influencing we create more subs like us through the closest family members and friends. We work on establish the commitment, compounding our circle of influence so that we can challenge and turn around what we disagree. Okay, and it is only when we have high self-esteem we can go on and build our subs all over, yeah, our tribe, our community. And this is where you will have built been bulletproof yourself from all kinds of negativity and people who wants to destroy or damage your self-esteem by being nasty, giving nasty negative remarks or feedbacks. And the last sector is where you emerge as strong winner, having that confidence and self-esteem that attracts opportunities. Because in times of uncertainties, especially in times of crisis, people will start to look for people who are certain, who is confident, okay, who are full of self-esteem and confident to lead them. That's where we impact. Yeah, at this stage we will work on building our society, creating the culture, the environment that we want. And this is where we learn to connect at a higher level and a higher purpose, creating a chain to collaborate rather than working alone. And in other words, we call it leverage. Yeah. So there you are. I've just brought you through the whole self-esteem world-class leader. But for normal folks, we need to just focus on the new expression. And when I mean taking action, this is what you can do to work on your own self-esteem, raising your own standard, working on your core, because you are the one who is going to impact your kid, not the skills and the techniques. Yeah. So completing the trifecta, yeah, awareness. So taking actions, you have a choice to join the new expression program that I mentioned just now to work on your self-esteem, at the same time raising your child. Yeah. Or you can also observe and do it yourself, yeah, doing what you used to do, and everything is by trial and error. You can also not do anything after this talk, choosing not to believe what I've mentioned the whole morning and go experience yourself, yeah, by all means. Or you can also continue to join one webinar after another webinar, gathering all the knowledge, and in the end of the day, still doesn't make any difference. Okay, as I've also said, knowing and doing equals to no progress. Okay, but what I would like to pass the message on is whatever action that you choose to do determines the self-esteem of your child the next critical 12 months, taking into consideration the global financial crisis that is going to come within this year itself. No joke. Okay, last but not least is to set up the accountability. Yeah, this is where you can practice together all the modalities that the programs will guide you through, having a community that encourage you and nourish you to become a better self. Yeah, which is also part of the purpose of this new expression program. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to have all of you here to know the secret, yeah, of how to seriously really raising the self-esteem of your child. And I've served so many clients, like I say, over 13 countries, 4 continents. I've served all and still serving the high expectation of the Complementary and Natural Health Council in UK. There is nothing that I want to have the fellow Malaysians to wake up, get up, raise your standard to the next level, because this is the only answer to a lot of the issues that you are facing right now. I cannot emphasize more than this. Yeah, I do not need to do this, in fact, because I've been serving a lot of CSRs already, my daily CSRs, my weekly CSR, to help the community, also with the same purpose of elevating the mindsets of the community, because I believe people can sense my passion, my integrity, and professionalism in all that I do. And even if you don't sign up for my program, at least you know what is the real root cause why your child is having low self-esteem. At least you will know, have a clearer idea what you need to do to be careful of starting right now. Okay, you can start to reflect and also start to make the necessary correction. And remember, it's never about the skills or the techniques like what others are preaching or theories that could work. What you need is something that is real and practical, coming from practitioner, coming from people who have done it, been there, done it, and proved that it works. Yeah, so that's it. Question and answers. Any questions and answers?
Thank you very much, Angeline, for that really, really interesting talk. I've been scribbling notes, and unfortunately, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to going through the 9 dials again.
Yeah.
Because people started posting up their green, red, and orange, and I was getting quite lost. I finally got it in the end, but as I said, I think I missed some of the
Okay.
the signages. So that's something that I'd love to go through again with
Okay.
your notes. Yeah.
Okay. Can. No problem. What I have here, yeah, in this screen is a self-esteem assessment that all of you can actually take. Remember, I mentioned about the 40 questions that you can do for yourself as well as for your kids, yeah. And then for those of you who wanted to join for my new expression program, you can jump into a discovery call free of charge for you to understand better what is it for. Okay, as I said, I don't normally do a lot of programs. I have enough on my plate, yeah, but I do it because of my own passion, that I want to see the mindsets and the levels of Malaysians to actually rise up. Okay, can you please project the screen on the circle of community cultures and cores? Okay, I will just go back. Yeah. In terms of the question that Leonora just mentioned just now about the DAOs, I will, once I have that, I'm going to just share it with Jonathan, and Jonathan can blast out to all of you so that you all can look at your own DAOs. Where are you at the moment? Okay, so I'm just going to stop. All of you, if you want the context and everything, just take a screenshot of it right now before I turn it off and go to somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, oh yes, that was quite fast, but I screenshot. Don't worry, I screenshot at the beginning. It was very interesting. Yeah, I think I am very sure that there are parents here who will have questions, especially because and as you are right, Angeline, you did say I am not here to teach you techniques. I'm not here to tell you what you should say to your child, because at the end of the day, it comes from the parent. It comes from the adult. And what do we do to create that reaction in the child?
Correct.
I think that was a very good the first sort of like the tip of the iceberg, where you actually introduce that idea to the parents, and then the parents will be thinking, oh yes, it's not how do I change my child, but how do I react to what is happening, yeah, and what do I do that causes the reaction in the child.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. I do not know whether anyone would like to say anything, even if they don't want to type up in the chat. They might want you to just say something.
I just want to address one question that was being brought up earlier by Shanti.
Yes.
How does this apply to single parent families with one absent? Okay.
Yeah.
Two things. Okay. The single parent then will play a heavier role to the child. So if your self-esteem, you as a parent has already have a low self-esteem, the child is going to pick up 100% from you, and it's going to be amplified further. Okay, so very, very important for you to actually look at your own self first. Secondly, also, single parent, either a mom or a dad, okay, a child normally, in this kind of circumstances, they have no choice, okay, they have no choice but to cling on to the child unless there is a access to the other partner. Yeah. And in this kind of scenario, right, the child, if they are closer to the partner whom they see very rarely, or they rarely get the chance to see that person, that association, that bonding, that stamping in that self-esteem of in the subconscious mind is going to be quite similar to the one that they are missing. Okay, so that's why I say looking at the new expression program is where you elevate yourself, as well as getting your child. If your child is more than 11 years old, it is already in there. There's nothing that you can do. I'm calling on to the parents who have kids below 7 years old to be very, very careful with your behaviors and your emotions and your verbal, whatever that comes out from your mouth, because the child will just continue to absorb. A child before at the age of 7, they do not have that critical mindset yet. They don't analyze it. It's like what is at the outside is the same as what is inside. It's like in their dreamland. And that's why you find that kids, when they say that there are monsters in the closet, they have dreams. They have dreams of monsters, and then they wake up and they see that closet, that cupboard, and they still say that there is monster inside the cupboard, because to them it is the real, whether it is the dream or real life, to them it's the same. Okay, no matter how much you're telling them, no, it's only a dream, it's not true, it's not there, it doesn't help the child at all. So that's how the brain is being formed for children before at the age of 7. So there will basically, it's the same world. But after that, they are having their own critical voices, their own critical thinking. That's where the things amplify further based on whatever that they have inside is going to be affirmed further, because the mind will look for things that they know, or the mind believes. So whatever beliefs that you have put it in the subconscious mind, they will automatically seek the truth for that particular belief. So it continues to amplify and to root it deeper into the mind. So for we would say a grown-up mind already, they will also need to learn to build their own self-esteem as an adult already. Okay, and this new expression is going to help them as well. With you and the child together, that when we combine, that is going to amplify the self-esteem even further, because at home, you become the accountability partner, the one that encourages their self-esteem. As you work on yours, they will see how you work on yours, and together that will amplify the whole entire results of a child's self-esteem. Okay.
I think when you did mention that you are targeting, or you are sort of like telling parents that, you know, when your child is younger, 7 and below, this is when the formative years are, this is how you form. I mean, I can see that very clearly. I have a grandchild who is 6 years old, and unfortunately the parents are not are estranged. So grandson comes, and the one expression which he says when he is very upset is, "You're not the boss of me." All right. And for a 6-year-old to say that, the first time I heard that, it was like, where did you get this phrase from? You're not the boss of me. And obviously, we know where it has come from. So these are things that are shocking, but something that we need to deal with in time.
Correct.
Yeah. And
Correct.
these are certain things that we need to realize. So I have a question here from an audience. I think it's a parent. You have said that before 7, these are very important years where whatever you say, whatever that they absorb from the parent. They
Correct.
actually what would you say? They emulate what the parents are saying, doing, how they're behaving. The parent here says, what happens to children above 9 years old? This comes from Miss Kiran Kaur. What strategies or correction behavior techniques can parents use then? I don't know what that means, but I suppose it's like, you talked about the under 7. So what about the above 7? Yeah.
As what I've mentioned, after the age of 7, it is more or less developing already, and the self-esteem, if it's hurt already, it will continue to hurt. So at that age above, you will need to grow together with them. Grow together with them in terms of you showing the example of, because whatever that is being done in the past, you can't change it. It's already stamped inside. But what you can definitely do is to encourage and to show them a different perspective. Likewise, like how I am showing a different perspective to all the audience here, yeah, and challenge them because they already have that critical thinking. But you can only challenge them to the right direction when you yourself is in the right direction. Yeah, so it's not really about, like I say, it's not really about the techniques. You can Google techniques, strategies anywhere, easily, everywhere. You have thousands of answers in the internet. Yeah. What about a child who finds out he's adopted? How old is the child, Shanti? Yeah. So a child who is adopted, if you have been giving the child a good conducive environment to grow up with, that is positive. Okay, we can always be transparent to the kids. Yeah, the last thing that the kid would want to know is, my parent actually lied to me, I'm not their real kid, and they have that crush, whatever that they believe in the past suddenly is being crushed. That is something that you wouldn't want. Having prepped that at the very beginning, even though you have been adopted, but then I love you the same. Help them to go through that trauma or stress of why their biological parents don't want them. I think that is very, very critical in terms of helping them to build their own self-esteem. But you must be prepared on knowing what to do and how to handle the emotional outbreak if there is any. And children, let me share with you, children, they pick up your energy and your emotions. You can camouflage, you can appear very strong, everything is absolutely all right. And that is even worse because the child is going to have another interpretation. My mom is going through hard time, or my parents are going through hard time. They are not in the right state of mind. They are very angry, and yet they are showing everything is all right. So in their mind, it is giving them a very different message, and it's confusing. And that is also another childhood stress, trauma. Okay, so like I said, a lot of all these things are not about techniques and skills, but what are you going through? How are you behaving, saying, doing all these things? And children pick up on your emotions and energy easily. No matter how you want to camouflage, they will pick it up.
Very true, very, very true. Miss Shuhada has asked, talking about the red, orange, and green indicators, does the generation gap make a difference? Like, for example, the millennials versus the Generation X, and I do not know about the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference. These dials, yeah, all these dials, the traffic light indicators is a mechanism for you to measure. Yeah, a mechanism for you to measure what is the state of your mindset, of your heart set, of your skill set, of your conditioning, as well as the communication and you yourself as a whole. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you are Gen X or Gen Y or baby boomers. Yeah, that is the state of yourself, of your own being. And then we look at which level of self-esteem you are, because self-esteem applies to everyone. It doesn't matter at which generation you are in. But what I can definitely share is the younger the generation, the lower the self-esteem, as well as the higher rate of depression and anxiety that I am very, very shocked. Like I say, back in our era, because I'm born in 70s, late 70s, yeah, I don't mind sharing. So during my era, it is those who are in the 40s that is known to have depression. That's where they call it midlife crisis. Yeah, 40s, most is late 30s. That's where they start having depression and all these things. Yeah, but if you look at the generation nowadays, I have suicidal from cases as young as 11 years old. Yeah, that was very shocking to me, and I got really disturbed by it. And when I look at the statistics and the people that I have to deal with, I keep on receiving cases of young kids below 12 years old, below 11 years old, below 10 years old, having all these anxiety and depression issues. I'm like, what is happening? And when we look at the statistics, right, the parents, either they are always arguing, the parents are having financial issues, they have seen cases in school. That's where they have really looked at and be exposed to different kinds of adult negative behaviors that they pick on. 100%. Yeah, even if it's just verbally, that didn't happen to them physically, they pick it up as well.
Yeah.
So that's why it drove me the message of telling and sharing with the parents here the importance of your standard. It's not about the skills, it's not about the techniques. And I hope that all of you got that. Yeah.
I noticed that, yes, as you said, you're in the 1970s, and that was the era which was something was different. I mean, okay, sharing with you, I'm a little bit below that in the 1960s. And it is still in my generation when we talk, we can't understand, and we still don't understand. And as you say, why you have such young children who are having all these issues, because in our time we just got on with it. There was no one there to hold our hand and ask us whether we were depressed, because we just had no time for that. And we did not even, and I think it's very much so with the fact that there's not that much TV that deals with it. So, like now when you're watching all the media, they're all talking about depression and this and that, and the children are so exposed to it. So, some of those who get very easily influenced will say, oh, I think I'm like this, or I think I'm like that, though they may not necessarily be. But I think in the older generation, the fact that you only watch TV at 6 o'clock and everything goes off at 9 o'clock, and all you have is the news, and you don't have that much media around, those issues don't crop up, but they seem to be very open now. And do you agree that it's also partially due to the fact that it is hyped in everything that you read online, Facebook, the news, etc.?
And of course, I agree the fact that the technology nowadays, we have exposed the younger generation to a lot more information than we had in the past. Yeah. Having exposed to information is not a bad thing. The only side effect is when they don't connect with people. And and they do their own interpretation because they are not connected, and they observe, and then they come up with their own belief systems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's where suddenly everything just crushed, because in this era, like the younger generation, a lot of the things are being provided, because the parents are spending a lot more time at work. They just provide things, material stuff to the kids. As I've mentioned, there's no material stuff that can actually substitute the real attention and real love from a parent. You can give them all the material things and then say, go play. This is what you want. The tablets, I'll just give it to you, and I love you, and all those things. But the emotion, it is empty. That emptiness cannot ever be filled, with all these things. So technology is one thing, but what is going on around with real people, that is an issue. Okay?
Yeah, so the main thing is that it's the connection. It then again, at the end of the day, it goes back to the parent. It is the connection. If there is no connection, if you choose not to connect or only to connect on a superficial level, then these problems are going to come up because you have not addressed them. Yeah. Right. Now, I mean, this has been a wonderful session, and I know we've overrun, and I've actually told the people who are managing, it's okay, let it overrun, because we're all interested and no one seems to want to rush. But I will have to close at some point, and I will actually read out one last question, which comes from, hold on, someone's just mentioned.
I saw, I think at least three, four questions.
Yes, okay, all right, let me just read. Okay, what if you have been moving and moving, but unknowingly suppressing the negativity? How do we even identify that we have a time bomb just waiting for the bomb to erupt? That's not the last question. I got one more after that. I've just read this one. Yes.
Okay. Very sad question. And this is something that I do in in the line of what we do. We call it emotional labor. Emotional labor, meaning that what you feel inside and what you display outside is completely different. It's like when you go to work, you have been feeling down under the blues because of whatever that's happening in the family. But when you go to work, you need to somehow put on a strong face, a happy face, because that is expected by the company. Or when you serve your clients, you're supposed to smile, whether you like it or not. You need to smile, and you cannot bring that negative baggage with you to work, because you need to deal with the staff, you need to deal with the boss, and that's why you put up that mask. And all this emotional labor, most of you wouldn't have heard it before, but let me just introduce it to you. It will cause emotional exhaustion, because when whatever that you're feeling inside, you are unable, you can't express it out. And at work, you spend at least 8 to 9 hours at work. That's a very, very long time. And when you suppress that feeling, when you get home, it's like a volcano waiting to erupt. It just depends on who got on the wrong time at the wrong place, and it will just trigger the whole thing. And it can go off any point of time. And when you have consistently all these things happening, right, over and over again, it drains you emotionally to the point that you just want to give up. You just want to let go of everything, because you just got so tired. And that's where people get into depression. And sad thing is, that was what I've experienced before, a long time ago, before I do all these things, because I didn't know back then. It is only when I am involved in this area that I got to know, okay, this is the reason why I was having depression back then. That was the reason why I want to give up everything. I just want to let go and sleep. That's it. I don't want to deal with anyone anymore. I've had enough, So if you keep on moving and moving, and you just suppress the negativity, you never get the chance to really express it, and you express it wrongly, and you impact other people around you, and then you start feeling guilty, and then that vicious cycle, it keeps on repeating by itself again and again. It just drains you. You will need to get on to a program like New Expression Program to allow you to express in a appropriate manner and diffusing what you have been suppressing all this while, so that it cleanses your body. Otherwise, that suppression is going to lead you to have a lot of disease as well. Cancer is a reason of accumulated anger and guilt over a long period of time. Yeah, I've seen so many of my clients. So when it's removed, their tumor marker will just drop. Before that, the tumor marker keeps increasing. I can tell you, vet it, vouch it, because that's real from my clients. Okay. Yeah. So that's suppressing the negativity. Yeah.
Yeah, very much can relate to that. Yes. Okay, the next one. Teachers face children with emotional baggage they bring to school. Right? Yes. We end up being their second mothers and fathers. True. We can counsel, but obviously the home setting is out of our control. We cannot talk to all parents. How can we help more? So what is the role that the teachers can take to help their students?
I guess part of the school's strategy could be to have more communication channel with the parents to create more awareness. Like, I take myself for an example. In the areas of what I do, it's rarely people know what I do, but I spoke a lot about it, and then I have my clients talking about it because they know, they have experience through it, and they will talk about it. But somebody must have gone through it, then they are able to create that kind of influence. That's why I say part of the model that we have built, it starts with our own self first, then we go on to impacting our family and friends, and that's where we start to impact the community at a larger scale. It's got to be built on stage by stage. You just can't go on and say, everyone change, time to change. Everybody thinking, why do you want me to change? I don't see a problem there. And they are not ready. For people who are not ready, they feel that I'm okay.
Yeah.
My children is fine. I don't see them having that problem. This is my way. These are the people who have yet to seen or really realize the impact of it. And that's sad because you literally destroy your kids' future with your own hands. Because they do not know what they don't know.
Yes. It's sad. Yes, it is. Right. That's very interesting. They do not know what they don't know. I like that one. Yes. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Okay, we have okay, I think Miss Shanti again. She's very much one of our teachers who deals with the very impressionable 11, 12-year-olds, those who have just moved from primary to secondary, so they feel like they're little young adults, that they've moved on. So she does do a lot of talking with them so that they can express themselves. So she says, we started doing family, emotional intelligence with our students. When it comes to family, they can't stop talking. Yes, I think she sometimes needs to stop them, because they could go on the whole day just talking about what's happening. And I think sometimes they don't have that person who will listen to them, and which brings me back to one thing that you mentioned earlier. It starts with the parent, and if the parent does not listen, if the parent does not has, as you say, they've got their job, they have other responsibilities, they're worried about other things, the children do feel, we are not the priority, we are not as important as everything else, we are like number 5 or number 6 on the list. And that is where it starts. And that's where it's a rolling thing. It just rolls on. So we need to be very careful of that. And I mean, as I even tell my daughter, I said, you don't want your children to be hooked onto their device. But of course, I mean, we all know that we go to a restaurant and we have parents who just give them the tab so they can keep quiet and then we can get on with our meal, right? I mean, we've all been, with children, we've all been guilty at some point of time, Yes. But I keep saying, but you are on your handphone, you are also playing games with your siblings, and
Exactly.
also they only want to do what you're doing.
Correct.
Unless you start with yourself and decide
Yes.
that, yeah,
Correct.
you can't expect other people to do what you to not do what you are doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
And I just want to add on the point that you mentioned about the parents. They are talking about themselves, their problems, their issues, their challenges, and they can't stop talking about that. Um, that is a norm. Okay, it's like
yes,
a coffee talk, and they dislike, the things that they are going through, but they still go through and they do the same, and the same will occur again and again, again and again, again and again. So my question to all these parents is that you keep on having that challenge, you keep on voicing out, and in the end of the day, it goes back to the same. So what's the point of talking that?
yeah,
You know, and at one point, you get so sick and tired of saying the same thing, doing the
yeah,
same thing over and over again. So that's why that change is needed.
yeah,
That expression is needed. The
yeah,
right expression, the right way of expressing it, getting it over and end it there. You do
yes,
not like that cycle. You need to break that cycle,
yeah,
or else you are
yes.
going to be in that hamster wheel
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time.
right. Yeah, it has to start. It has to stop, and you have to make that shift. And to make
Correct.
that shift, it has to start with you,
Yeah,
and
it has to
then
start with the
it has
parents.
to move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Right.
Any other questions? I think everyone has, yes, everyone has enjoyed this talk very much. I think we've learned a lot. Thank you so much, Angeline, for spending
Thank
your
you.
Saturday morning. That's a precious time. I know when people have do. Thank you so much. We hope to have you. I definitely hope that our paths will cross many times in the future. Thank you very much.
Right.
Hopefully, we'll be able to get you to share with us in the future as well.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
we look forward to the information that you have shared with
Yes.
us, that we can
Correct.
try out the assessment, etc. Yes. So, is there anything that you would like to say to your audience before we close the session?
I appreciate all your attention, and I really appreciate all of you for playing full out with me the whole morning, playing with all the reflections, and getting through all these materials. I think I am very grateful because I get the chance to be able to share with all of you whatever that I've had, the experiences. Like I say, this topic is something which is very dear to me. I'm very, very passionate, and it's one of my objective and purpose to help out as many parents and kids as possible, because I do not want to have the next generation having to go through more pains that they are already have. It is time to reverse that,
Yeah.
and the time is now. And more so with this crisis coming in, things are going to turn even more nasty and more challenges is going to come. So if you as a parent unable to do all these things, your kids are going to have a big deep impact moving forward, because we are looking at things worse than the Great Depression, and that's something which I do not want to see.
Yeah.
So that's my call, and that's what I do.
Oh,
All right. So thank you,
thank
everyone,
you so
and
much. So the main
have
thing
a
is right now,
pleasant weekend.
yeah, the message is, as I think the Scouts master, I think Baden Powell says, be prepared, right? We have
Yes.
to be prepared. We have to prepare ourselves. Yes.
Right.
Thank you so
Right.
much. And we hope to see you again, Angeline.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this morning. We've had a wonderful session. We hope to get some feedback from you. Please do communicate with the facilitators. And if you have any more questions for Angeline, just shoot them in to us. Okay, thank you so much, Angeline. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay. Right. Okay, thank you everyone for being so patient today and for listening. I know I could go on, I could stay here, but of course we all have things to do this Saturday, yeah? All right, so have a good Saturday, have a good weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.